You think men are afraid of commitment? That's not quite right. The truth is, most men are actually scared of something much deeper than commitment. They are terrified of falling in love with the one person who can reach past their walls. Here's the thing, when a man starts caring about you emotionally, he might not say it outright, but he'll show it in ways he can't fully control. And if you can recognize these 5 signs, you'll know when he's truly falling for you, even if he's trying to hide it. Have you ever felt that tension with a guy, where you sense something more, but he just won't voice it? You see it in his eyes, feel it in the way he lingers, yet he pulls back before saying anything. That's not hesitation. It's emotional desire fighting against fear. Today we'll look at 5 clear signs that a man is falling for you emotionally, even if he hasn't said the words. Pay attention, because the last one is the hardest for men to hide. One of the strongest signs of emotional desire is how protective he becomes, and not just in a movie-like way of standing up to someone or acting like a bodyguard. True protection is deeper. It's about the quiet, consistent ways he shows that your well-being matters to him. A man who is emotionally connected starts carrying a subtle sense of responsibility for you. He notices if you're tired, if you've had a rough day, or if something is bothering you, and he instinctively wants to help. He might not say, "I care about you," but you feel it in his actions. For example, the difference between a man who texts, "Did you get home?" versus one who waits to hear you arrived safely. The first is polite, the second is protective. Or when he hands you his jacket without being asked, walks on the traffic side of the street, or remembers you don't like walking alone late at night and offers to go with you. These small gestures may seem simple, but they carry emotional weight because they come from someone who wants to shield you in meaningful ways. This instinct also appears during emotional moments. If someone upsets you, his reaction isn't detached or indifferent. He feels it with you. He might not know the perfect way to fix it, but he wants to be there beside you. Men don't offer this kind of emotional support lightly. If he's putting energy into making sure you feel safe and supported, it shows his heart is involved. Even without a verbal confession, his protective behavior reveals his feelings. It's crucial to understand this difference because men who aren't emotionally invested may be charming or fun, but they won't carry the same sense of concern for your deeper well-being. A man who only desires you physically won't go out of his way to protect your peace of mind. But when his emotions are involved, your comfort and safety naturally become part of his priorities, whether he realizes it or not. That's how you know his feelings go beyond the words he hasn't spoken. Now, the clear sign is his presence. Being present doesn't just mean being in the same room or spending time together. It means focus. An emotionally invested man might not speak in elaborate words, but when he's around you, he tunes in completely. He remembers the details you mentioned last week, like the meeting you were anxious about, a story about your family, or how you take your coffee. He doesn't just hear you, he absorbs what matters to you, because it starts to matter to him. That's rare today. Many people live distracted, looking at their phones or thinking about the next task, while half listening. When a man truly desires you emotionally, the difference is instant. He puts his phone away, maintains eye contact, doesn't direct the conversation to himself. Giving you full attention is one of the most intimate gifts he can offer. He may not say, "I'm falling for you," but his focus shows you're a priority. Presence also shows in how he reacts to your emotions. If you're upset, he doesn't brush it off. If you're happy, he shares your excitement. Emotional presence means leaning into your feelings even when it's uncomfortable. Most men instinctively pull away from emotions because they feel overwhelming. But when a man wants you emotionally, he resists that urge. He may stumble over words, but he stays with you in the moment. That quiet, steady attention is proof of deeper feelings. Micro-jealousy is another subtle but telling sign. And it's not about being controlling or possessive. Those come from insecurity, not genuine emotional desire. Micro-jealousy is quieter. It's that shift in his energy when another man gives you attention, or when you casually mention someone else. He may not say a thing, but you can sense it. His posture changes slightly, his tone shifts, or he asks a follow-up that reveals he noticed more than he lets on. Micro-jealousy is revealing because it's unplanned. Men don't script it, it slips out before they can stop it. He might make a light joke like, "So this guy at work seems to pop up a lot," or become a little quieter when you talk about someone else. He won't openly admit it because he doesn't want to seem insecure, but deep down he's measuring his place in your life. That small reaction is his heart giving itself away. Men who aren't emotionally invested won't show these reactions. If a man only sees you casually, he won't care who texts you or who you spend time with. But when he's starting to fall, your attention matters, and even subtle gestures reveal it. Sometimes he may also try to raise his value subtly in those moments, mentioning his achievements, future plans, or how he can be there for you. It's almost like quiet competition because he wants to show why he stands out. That desire to be noticed over others is a strong indicator of deeper feelings. Micro-jealousy quietly says, "You matter to me more than I'm ready to say." One of the clearest but often missed signs is vulnerability. Most men are trained to keep their guard up. They're taught to appear strong, hide weakness, and avoid exposing parts of themselves that could be judged. But when a man begins to care deeply, small cracks appear in his armor. It rarely comes as a dramatic confession. Instead, it shows in subtle, almost accidental ways. He may tell you about a mistake that left him doubting himself, a story from his past he rarely shares, or pressures he feels to meet expectations. These moments signal trust. They show that with you he feels safer than with almost anyone else. Men who are only casually interested never reveal this level of personal detail. They keep things surface level. Fun, charming, sometimes flirtatious, but never truly open. When he starts letting you see his doubts, fears, and imperfections, it's because his emotions are drawing him closer. He may not say, "I trust you," but his openness proves it. This sign is powerful because men often regret showing vulnerability, yet it leaks out because his feelings are growing stronger. A subject, or laugh it off because the situation feels uncertain. That's why it's important to pay attention to these small hints, because they reveal more than he intends to show. It's not just about what he says, it's about the fact that he's letting you see a part of him he usually keeps hidden. That's not random. Those are signs of emotional interest in action. Vulnerability leaks are his way of testing the waters, seeing if you'll accept him for who he really is, not just the polished version he shows everyone else. When he begins to open up and share those cracks with you, it's not just idle conversation, it's a silent confession that he's already developing feelings. When a man is emotionally drawn to you, one of the clearest signs is his steady effort. Anyone can show up at first with excitement, big gestures, and words that sound impressive, but those bursts of attention usually fade when the interest is shallow. Emotional desire is different because it motivates a man to be consistent. He doesn't just appear when it suits him or when he wants something. He shows up repeatedly in ways that build trust. His effort isn't about dramatic statements, it's in the small, repeated actions that prove you're not just a passing thought to him. This consistency is often shown in his time. Even when he's busy, he makes room for you. It may not always be long stretches of attention, but you notice he checks in. He follows through on what he says, and he doesn't disappear without explanation. He values the connection enough to nurture it, even when life becomes hectic. That's because when a man is emotionally invested, you become a part of his priorities, not just something he squeezes in when convenient. Consistency also appears in reliability. If he says he'll call, he does. If he promises to be there, he shows up. Perfection isn't the point. Everyone slips sometimes, but the overall pattern makes you feel you can trust him. That dependability is one of the strongest ways a man expresses his feelings without saying a word, because to remain consistent, he has to care. Men don't put effort over time unless their emotions are genuine. This makes it different from men who are only caught up in attraction. Those men often start strong, then fade as soon as the excitement diminishes. But when a man is emotionally attached, the effort doesn't weaken, it deepens. He wants to see you. He wants to connect. He wants to maintain the bond, even when it requires work. That kind of steady effort is rare and one of the clearest unspoken signs that his heart is leaning closer to you. Consistency in action is his way of saying without words, "You are important enough for me to keep showing up." When you notice that pattern, you're not just witnessing attraction, you're witnessing the beginnings of care taking root. When a man is emotionally interested, one of the most beautiful signs is his unspoken affection. This isn't about obvious gestures like saying "I like you" or giving constant compliments. It's in the small, quiet moments when he thinks you're not paying attention. You might see it in the way his eyes linger a little longer than normal, or how he hesitates before saying goodbye, almost like he doesn't want the moment to end. These small actions carry more weight than big statements because they are natural and unplanned. They reveal what's really in his heart. You might notice it when he studies your expressions while you talk, not just listening to your words but memorizing the details of your face. Or maybe he teases you lightly in ways that keep the emotional connection alive. Sometimes it's in the way he touches your arm during conversation, or finds reasons to stand close. He may not realize it, but his body expresses what he's not ready to say. Unspoken affection also appears in small pauses. He doesn't rush to end a phone call, even when it's technically over. He doesn't pull back first during a hug. He stretches moments with you, as if time with you is naturally important. These hesitations are signals that he's emotionally invested in a way he can't fully explain. What makes these gestures so powerful is their honesty. Words can be controlled, but actions are harder to hide. A man might hold back from expressing himself because of fear, pride, or timing, but his affection still comes through. When he desires you emotionally, his love language often shows as presence, touch, and attention rather than spoken words. It's subtle, but unmistakable. These signs are easy to miss if you only listen for words, but when you notice the quiet ways he stays near, you see that his heart is speaking even when his lips remain silent. That kind of affection shows he's already developing feelings, even if he hasn't admitted it yet. Another strong indicator is the way he starts doing small things for you without being asked. These acts of service reveal feelings more than words could. Men typically don't go out of their way for someone unless a deeper connection motivates them. When he's emotionally drawn to you, helping you, supporting you, or making your life easier, becomes almost instinctive. He may not even realize he's doing it, but it's his way of showing care when saying it aloud feels too vulnerable. It could be as simple as remembering a small detail you mentioned, like your favorite snack or the way you take your coffee. It might show up when he notices you struggling and quietly steps in, not for recognition, but because he genuinely wants to help. Fixing something for you, giving you a ride, or checking in to see if you've eaten may seem small, but they carry weight. These gestures show he thinks of you even when you're not present and that your well-being has become part of his concern. What makes this so revealing is the intention behind it. A man who is casually interested won't go beyond convenience. He may show up for fun or affection, but won't invest consistently in making your life better. A man who is emotionally attached sees your happiness and peace as part of his role. He expresses care through actions because, for many men, deeds feel safer than words when it comes to love. Sometimes he even downplays what he does. He doesn't always point it out or seek recognition, because the act itself is the reward. That quiet, behind-the-scenes support is one of the most honest ways men reveal feelings. He may not say, "I'm falling for you," but every effort he makes quietly confirms it. Acts of service are his heart's unspoken language, showing that you matter enough for him to step in and lighten your life. Another clear sign is how careful he becomes during disagreements. Most men aren't naturally afraid of conflict. With people they don't care for, they can argue, brush it off, or even walk away easily. But when he's emotionally involved, things change. The thought of losing closeness with you feels alarming. He may still get frustrated or upset, but underneath there's a quiet concern. He doesn't want to risk harming the bond he has with you. You'll notice it in the way he chooses his words when you're upset. Instead of snapping back, He pauses, trying to avoid saying something he might regret. You might see him soften his tone or follow up later to make amends after a disagreement. He may not be skilled at expressing emotions, but he makes an effort to repair things because distance from you feels uncomfortable. That effort is not just about keeping peace, it's about protecting the connection. Sometimes it shows subtly. He might compromise more easily, letting go of needing to be right because preserving the relationship matters more. Or even when he's annoyed, he checks in on you to ensure you're okay. He can't fully detach because his heart is invested in your well-being. This kind of caring approach to conflict is one of the strongest signs of emotional attachment. Men who aren't deeply invested don't bother. They may fight, withdraw, or disappear. But the man who's emotionally connected will work to maintain the bond, even when it challenges him. When a man is emotionally drawn to you, one of the most obvious patterns you will notice is how he prioritizes you even when life is demanding. He doesn't always have to make grand statements or dramatic gestures. Instead, it's in the way he naturally adjusts his schedule, makes small compromises, or rearranges his time so that you feel acknowledged and valued. Even when his responsibilities are heavy, he finds ways to include you, whether it's sending a quick message to check on you during a busy day or remembering a small detail from a conversation you had earlier. These gestures are not about obligation, they are about choice. They show that your presence matters enough for him to carve out space in his life. Over time, these small, consistent efforts accumulate, creating a sense of security and trust. You start to notice that he isn't just present when it's convenient, but even when it requires effort, he remains connected. You may also notice that he invests in understanding your needs without you having to spell everything out. A man who is emotionally invested pays attention to the little things, your habits, your preferences, your mood changes. He notices when something seems off or when you're quietly struggling, and he responds in ways that are thoughtful and considerate. These are not performative actions, they are authentic reflections of care. For example, if he sees that you are stressed, he might offer help without waiting to be asked. Or he may send an encouraging message, just to let you know he is thinking about you. It's these thoughtful touches, the quiet awareness of your life beyond the surface, that reveal the depth of his feelings. Another sign of emotional attachment is his willingness to share his own experiences and thoughts with you. He doesn't just talk about general topics, he allows himself to be known. This might be his fears, past mistakes, personal goals, or moments of vulnerability that he usually keeps private. Opening up this way shows that he trusts you and values the connection enough to let his guard down. When he chooses to share personal details, it's a subtle invitation for you to connect more deeply, showing that he sees you as more than just a companion for casual interaction. The ability to be vulnerable in this way is a powerful signal of emotional desire because it demonstrates courage and the wish for genuine closeness. You may also observe that he shows patience in ways that others might not. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about understanding that meaningful relationships take time to develop and that rushing things can weaken rather than strengthen a bond. He is willing to let things unfold naturally, to listen without judgment, and to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. His patience reveals his investment because he doesn't push for immediate outcomes. He prioritizes the overall well-being of the connection. Even small moments of patience, allowing you time to speak, not interrupting or giving you space when needed, signal that he values your presence and respects your pace. Communication is another area where his emotional attachment becomes clear. While words are not always the primary vehicle of expression, the way he communicates still matters deeply. He communicates with clarity, thoughtfulness, and attention to tone. He doesn't leave you guessing about his intentions, yet he doesn't overwhelm with constant messages either. There is a balance in the way he reaches out, ensuring that you feel acknowledged without pressure. He listens attentively when you speak, asks follow-up questions, and remembers details from previous conversations. These behaviors demonstrate that he is emotionally present and actively engaged in understanding you. Another subtle but important sign is how he interacts with people who are important to you. A man who is emotionally invested will naturally show respect and consideration for your family, friends, or colleagues. He doesn't act dismissive or indifferent. Instead, he makes an effort to connect, understand, or simply be polite and supportive. By showing regard for the people you care about, he communicates indirectly that your world matters to him and that he wishes to be a positive presence in it. Additionally, you may notice how he manages challenges or obstacles when you are involved. Life is unpredictable and difficult situations arise, but a man who is emotionally committed does not shy away from facing problems that affect both of you. He actively seeks solutions, offers support, and does not abandon responsibilities that impact your shared connection. This proactive engagement demonstrates that your relationship or bond is important enough to merit consistent attention, even when it's inconvenient or challenging. You might also observe the way he celebrates your achievements, big or small. A man who cares emotionally doesn't just acknowledge your accomplishments superficially. He takes genuine joy in seeing you succeed. Whether it's personal growth, work accomplishments, or simply completing a small goal, he offers recognition and encouragement. This kind of celebration is not performative but reflects true emotional investment. He doesn't compete with your successes or make them about him. He supports them because your happiness and growth matter to him. Empathy is another clear indicator of emotional desire. He listens to your concerns, validates your feelings, and offers reassurance when needed. He doesn't rush to correct or dismiss your emotions. Instead, he acknowledges them and responds with understanding. This ability to empathize goes beyond casual concern. It shows that he is willing to connect deeply with your inner experiences. When someone demonstrates consistent empathy, it indicates that they are emotionally tuned to your needs and invested in maintaining a positive and supportive connection. The generosity of spirit often appears in subtle ways as well. He shares his time, resources, or knowledge without expectation of reward. This generosity is not about